I want to go over an example now. I want to solve this problem. So let's read the problem. 3 balls are to be randomly selected without replacement from an urn containing 20 balls numbered 1 through 20. If we bet at least one of the balls that are drawn has a number at least 17, what's the probability that we win the bet? So take a few minutes, read the problem statement a couple of times. So we have an urn. We have 20 balls inside the urn as pictured, and the balls are numbered 1 through 20. So think of the numbers 1 through 20 as the names of the balls. What we are doing then is we are picking, my OneNote is stuck, so let me pause and correct that. Okay, so we are picking 3 balls. If we are picking 3 balls from the urn, what's the sample space? Well, the sample space S is the set of all possible selections of 3 balls from the urn. That's the sample space. Now, what's the size of the sample space? That is, how many elements are there in the sample space? So what's the size of the sample space? Well, we have 20 objects. From the 20 numbers or balls, we are picking 3. So the answer is that the size of S is 20 choose 3. Okay. So now let's try to answer the question. In order to answer the question, I'm going to start by defining a random variable. So let's take X, and X denotes the largest number selected. So what I'm saying is we are picking 3 numbers. So because we are picking 3 balls, so that means we are picking 3 numbers, and X denotes the largest number that we picked. And what are the possible values of X? Notice that X couldn't be 1 or 2, because if we are picking 3 balls, the largest number has to be at least 3. So the possible values of X are 3, 4, 5, ... or 20. So these are the possible values of X. Now what do we have to find? So remember, what we have to find is the following. If we bet at least one of the balls picked, or one of the numbers picked is at least 17, then what's the probability that we win? So let me repeat that. So I'm rephrasing the question. If we bet at least one of the numbers picked is at least 17, what's the probability that we will win? So what we are asked then is basically the following. We want to find what's the probability that X, the largest number picked, is at least 17. So make sure that you understand that that is what we need to find. So in order to find this, I know what we have to find, right? We have to find the probability that x is larger than 17 is the same as the probability that x is 17 plus the probability that x is 18 plus the probability that x is 19 plus the probability that x is 20. So the event that x is at least 17 is the same as the event that x is 17 or 18 or 19 or 20, and the events that x is 17, x is 18, x is 19, and x is 20, these events are disjoint, so I can write the probability that x is larger than 17, at least 17, as the sum of these four probabilities. So we need to find those. So before that, I'm going to find a formula for the probability that x is equal to I. Here I is any number between 3 and 20. So what's the probability that x is I? That means, remember, we have 20 numbers, 1 up to 20, and we are picking 3 numbers, and x is the largest number picked. What's the probability that the largest number picked is I? That's the question. So notice, if the largest number picked is I, that would mean the remaining 2 will have to be picked from the numbers 1 up to I minus 1. So let me repeat that again. If the largest number picked is I, then the remaining 2 numbers must be picked from 1 to I minus 1. So the probability, in order to find the probability that x is equal to I, what I want to do first is look at the event that x is I, and I want to know how many elements are there in that event. Well, the question is, how many ways can I pick 3 numbers from 1 to 20 where I is the largest number? Well, like I said, so the ith number must be picked, so the remaining 2 must be picked from I minus 1 number, so I minus 1 pick 2. So that's how many ways I can pick 3 numbers. And then there is the ith number has to be picked, so there is only one ith number. From that I have to pick one, choose one. So that's how many ways I can pick 3 numbers where I is the largest number. And so the probability that x is I is basically then I minus 1, choose 2, divided by 20, choose 3. Remember, the size of the sample space is 20, choose 3. So that's the probability that x is I. Now, using that as a formula, then I can create a table of values. Let's take I and the probability that x is I. I is 17. Then what's the probability? The probability would be 16, choose 2, divided by 20, choose 3, which is 3 over 20. When I is 18, it'll be 17, choose 2 in the numerator, the denominator stays the same, and if you do the calculations you get 51 over 380. If I is 19, then the probability that x is 19 by using this formula here, it'll be 18 choose 2 divided by 20 choose 3, and simplification will yield 34 over 285. And when I is 20, we will get 2 over 19. If we add them up, we get 0.508. Okay, so therefore the probability that x is at least 17 is 0.508. Okay, so that's the final answer. So go ahead and look at it a couple of times and make sure that it makes sense. All right, we will do another example in the next video.